Hi, I'm Jenna.
And I'm Erin.
And welcome to Between Two Filing Cabinets, where we bring you tips, trends, troubles, and stories from HR.
That's right. And last week we got started talking about vacations since this is the summer. Now we're into summertime. And we posed the question to you to check or not to check email or check in with the office when you're on vacation. And thanks for everybody who responded. It sounds like we've got a pretty even split. Half of people thinking, better to check in, saves them some stress. Other people are like, nope, I'm unplugging all the way. So how does that fit with your findings, Jenna, at a kind of broader level?
Yeah, it's pretty consistent with what the research shows. So depending upon what survey you're looking at, it shows that between 53 and about 66% of people still stay connected while they're on vacation. So they're checking in some sort of manner. And so, last week we talked about sort of vacation shaming, vacation guilt. And this is another thing that we hear a lot about, is just that people are having trouble disconnecting. And probably most of the conversations when we have it are like, we understand the importance of being able to disconnect and to be able to unplug and right? Hey, this is your time. You need to make sure it's your time, that there's not an expectation, that you're checking in and those sorts of things. And I think that's what people say a lot of times. But one of the studies that I was looking at was really interesting because it had a lot of people who are saying, well, I'm not actually really doing any work. I'm just checking in to make sure everything's okay. And that allows me to be less stressful. So, if I can just do a quick check-in, I know everything's good, then I'm going to enjoy my vacation more because I know that everything is fine.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to be said with that, so long as there are certain parameters put in place, so that it's not basically you on a beach somewhere checking your phone every 5 minutes.
Right.
So if you are going to check your email while you're away, it's kind of suggested that you do it once. Once a day, maybe early morning or in the evening, just not responding to anything that you don't have to respond to, but if it gives you a sense of peace, just to be able to look it over and see. Because here's the thing, it's like, we have to lean into some of the discomfort, I think. I think we are so trained and it's ingrained in us to check every time we hear that ping go off. So P.S., turn off your alerts while you're on vacation. That will be helpful. So it might be a little uncomfortable that first day or two, just checking in once, or what if something's happening, right? Regardless if you're going to go cold turkey and not check at all, or if you're going to check in just once a day, be a little bit prepared that it might feel a little uncomfortable, especially in the beginning.
Right, and I think, you kind of bring it up as managing that expectations, especially for, leaders. If it's your expectation, like, no, don't even check your email that once a day. We've got it. We've got everything covered. Then make sure you're working with the employee in advance so that they know, like, hey, your emails, are forwarded to me or to whoever that they're going to. You also suggested like making sure that they have an emergency contact.
Absolutely. So what I would do is definitely manage expectations around that. First of all, make sure that you have the support of your manager. We've heard some horror stories of people who get chided for not checking in during their vacation. So you can check in and say, hey, this is my plan for some self-care. I'm going to try to not check in so I can get really restored and come back juiced, So I want to make sure that you have the support of your leadership. And then, having those away messages on your email, giving, both outside and inside the organization. So what I like to do is, for anybody who's on the outside, if they need an immediate response, who to connect with. And then internally, so my colleagues know how to get a hold of me, because I don't check on vacation. I'll say, this is my cell phone number. Feel free. If there's anything urgent, text or call me. Right. And that way I don't have that panic of everybody's trying to get a hold of me, or what if somebody needs me? Because if it was that big a deal, they would call me.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's important, is finding that balance. I do the same thing of, hey, if something comes up, call me. If you don't call me, I might still see that email, but it's not going to be an emergency to me unless you're on the phone with me. I happen to be one of those people who I get a lot of email and I don't like it sitting in there. So I mostly go in just to get rid of email, not actually reading anything. I think it's just the amount of email that I have to come back to that seems overwhelming to me. So if I can just jump in there, clear things out, I've already got my forwards on if something comes up. So for me, that just helps me go, okay, I'm not going to come back to 500 emails and spend my morning getting rid of a bunch bunch of junk mail. But I think that's the important part, is figuring out what works for that person. If it is that person who is going to be stressed out because they've got all of these emails, then going through those steps like you just talked about to make sure that they've got it covered. If they do a check-in once a day, that's fine. But if you see them responding to emails and actually working, then you need to be clear about that expectation as well, to say, like, all right, clearing out emails is okay, but actually doing work is not.
Yeah, I got busted actually before I imposed this new rule. I was responding to emails and definitely got busted. You're on vacation, stop it, which I appreciated because it is uncomfortable, and I just kind of have to. By day 2, it was easier, but just kind of leaning into it, and kind of pretending. Because I think, let me ask you, Jenna, when you went to Costa Rica, and so you did not have access to check email. Was it somehow easier knowing that like it wasn't even an option to check it?
Yeah, it actually was, to be like, I don't have any options, so it was definitely less stressful. But I in advance I knew I've got such a great team that there's any worry that I have is self-imposed, right? There's not going to be anything that comes up that they can't handle or that someone here can't handle. So that actual like physical inability, right, to even connect was helpful, I think.
And that's a great, that brings up kind of a great point from a leadership standpoint of not only do you want to model good behavior, so if you're taking a vacation, you want to show people that you have that credibility, that you don't expect them to check their email, so don't you do it either from a leadership standpoint. Also consider the signal that it's sending to your team if you're checking up on them. I mean, to you, it might just be like, I'm just managing my own anxiety.
Right.
But for them, it might be like, doesn't she trust that I've got this covered? Right. I mean, we can handle things for a week, boss. So, exactly. And keeping both of those things in mind.
Yeah. Good. Right. All right. Well, we're going to file this one under unplugging.
Unplugging. I like it.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.